Run. Mayor, run.
Oh, good evening. This is Rudy Giuliani, and this is the Rudy Giuliani Show. Sorry, I was just putting something on the board there that we'll take a look at in a little while. Well, welcome to the Rudy Giuliani Show on Lindell TV, X, and I don't know, lots of other places too. And of course, we're here in Palm Beach, as you can see behind us. And let's. It was really hard to figure out today what the top story is. So I'll tell you what I think the top story is for now. There's really two things that are going on. There are a lot of things going on. Trump is trying to change this government more than it's been changed since Franklin Roosevelt. So this is more than Reagan. Reagan made a turn to the right, a couple of changes, but not fundamental changes. He took the already existing right-wing philosophy that started somewhere back with even before Goldwater ran, probably with William Buckley and people like that, and put it into action. He took a government that was becoming a very high tax socialist confiscation of money, just redistribution of wealth country, and he stopped it. He stopped the movement in that direction, and he pushed it very much in the other direction with major tax reductions that had a massive impact at that time on the economy that lasted all through Clinton, and maybe even through part of Bush. He took the whole concept of détente with Russia and the acceptance of communism, appeasement, and turned it into peace through strength, which meant strength. Because peace you can't assure. Well, the only thing in your control is not peace; it's getting strong, so that the other side has no other choice but peace. He understood that better than anyone else. He was unable to achieve his third lifetime goal, which was reduction of the deficit, because particularly to do the peace part, it cost a lot more money than he ever thought it would cost. And probably you can sum up that era with the quote from Gorbachev, which said he spent us out of existence, meaning Trump spent communism in Eastern Europe out of existence, which is one of the great presidential accomplishments of all time. Three liberators, Lincoln, Roosevelt, and I said Trump. I meant Reagan. I confuse him often because I confused him often, and I say that Donald Trump has a legacy in the making that may equal that, may surpass it. It certainly will come. Well, if you just take that first term, the accomplishments in that first term were quite remarkable. Now it's like he's put it all up for grabs again. But he's trying a fundamental change now. This is not a change to a philosophy that was just a little further right than what would be the center, or however you want to describe it. He's trying to rid the government of bastardizations that occurred in the early part of the last century through the mid part of the last century, and to make us more like the government we were intended to be, because it's his belief that would make us in this contemporary world much stronger, that the concept of our founding fathers was sounder than the concept of Woodrow Wilson and Franklin Roosevelt and Lyndon Johnson and all of the communists that were behind them, to make us sort of an imitation of a communist government. Remember, we started off as we were going to be a very small central government, only what's necessary. Now, of course, that would mean a bigger government than you might think as the country got bigger and bigger. But it didn't mean a government of centralized power almost completely. And at least two things change that. That's the Supreme Court's definitions eventually of what the federal government could do. Remember, when Roosevelt first came into office, the Supreme Court did to him what the lower courts are now attempting to do to Trump, and that is they found most of the New Deal unconstitutional. And it probably was. But then Roosevelt, over a period of time, did in fact pack the court, not in the almost illegal way he attempted to do and was stopped by adding like 10 more judges or 8 more judges or whatever. But over time, people died. He put people who believe in the New Deal, and through the Interstate Commerce Clause, and using that to grant the federal government a lot more powers than were enumerated in the Constitution, and then accepting the fourth branch of government, the independent agencies that the president has very limited control over, if any. We created a monstrosity, a government as large as any of the socialist or communist governments, a government that takes just about as much of your hard-earned money as a socialist or communist government would, and a government that wants to increasingly dictate to you what you do from cradle to grave. Just even the battle for your own children is an indication of what has happened in the progression from Wilson to Roosevelt to Johnson to Obama to Biden. They're the property of the state now, as exemplified in the extreme radical blue states like Minnesota, where your child at 15 can go there, have their genitals cut off, and you got nothing to say about it because the doctors and the bureaucrats know more about your child's psychology and your child's well-being than you do. Just one example. Trying to roll that back, trying to change that is, in fact, a peaceful revolution. It isn't a constitutional crisis. There are Democrats, of course, they're trying to paint it as that. It's all being done within the Constitution. But it is creating another indication of how our court system has become completely corrupted beyond anything even the founding fathers thought possible, because they thought judges would be confined to precedent and law and interpretation of law. And judges have now become, particularly Democrat judges, out of control monsters. I mean, they just rule whatever they want, and it doesn't matter. So Trump, let's take the two that are the main sources right now, and that is Trump versus the courts and Trump versus the university. Trump versus the courts is a continuation of the misuse of the courts as a structure or a part of the Democratic ideology and party. Trump has already had more injunctions filed against his administration than in the first 2 months, than in the entire Biden administration, the entire Obama administration, and the entire Bush administration. He's had 15 of these things filed against him, and the closest one I think was Biden, who over a period of years had 14 against him. And let's see if we have that. Here we go. There it is. That's the number right there. 6 injunctions against Bush, 12 against Obama, 14 against Biden, and 15 since the start of his second term. So that's the battle that is going on in court right now. And we've got Kara Castronova with us from Washington and from the White House. to tell us what happened today. The president had as usual, a fairly lengthy I don't know what press conference.
We don't have Carrie yet.
Is Carol with us? Not yet. So then let's go into some of these. Some of these. I mean, they're really the cases. The cases come from the fact that he is challenging present practice. For example, he is saying that he is entitled, as the president of the United States, to dismiss anyone in the executive branch, even if the Congress has said there must be cause or reason or bad conduct. That he's entitled to do that because the Constitution never gave Congress the authority to create a fourth branch of government. And the Constitutional Convention and the founding fathers, in debating this and in writing about it, made clear they wanted to give the president unfettered ability to fire anybody he wanted. They debated it very carefully. They originally thought they'd put no restraints on who he could hire, who he could fire. Then they thought they might put equal restraints on hiring and firing. In other words, hiring, there'd be advice and consent. Firing, there'd have to be approval. And then they decided, no, let's do it this way. Let's put some restraint on his hiring. He's not all-knowing. He needs help in figuring out who the right people are. We should have a role in that. But once he decides that somebody's inadequate, even if we disagree, how can we force him to keep that person? Because after all, there is no other executive branch of government. But see, they went ahead and created another executive branch of government. All those alphabet soup things, FTC, FCC, PQI, WYZ, FU. No, I'm sorry. All of those, or many of them, have restrictions on when and for what reason he can dismiss. People have terms. They can only be dismissed if they do something wrong. He would say, and I would say, that it is beyond a constitutional argument. It's about as clear as a bell that Congress can't do that. Now, the only thing that will hinder a decision to that effect is the fact that it's been done that way for so long. And even though something is grossly unconstitutional, the court has always been reluctant to change past practice. Well, I shouldn't say that. When it becomes obviously grossly constitutional, they haven't been, like separate but equal existed for 3/4 of a century. Obviously, grossly inconsistent with the Constitution. So those cases are winding their way to the court, and that should be a revolution when it happens, because the president would then be able to control and hopefully eliminate a lot of that fourth branch of government and start to make the federal government of Washington, much smaller, a much smaller part of your life. The theory of the Republican Party from the very beginning has been the best government is the least government. That would run from Lincoln through Reagan through Trump. And I would say that's behind a lot of this, including the battles that are going on with Elon Musk, which are disgraceful, and an indication of why the Democratic Party should disband itself and start a new party and get rid of the dishonest crooks who are fighting to keep a corrupt government in place because they benefit from it. Make no mistake about it. The fight against Elon Musk is a fight against the corrupt and comfortable who really don't care if there's waste and abuse, but actually all of it's fraud. They're benefiting from it. The things they're doing to Musk are kind of a conglomeration of all of the things they did against Trump and me and Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro and all the J6 people, and they're just trying to, by fiat, create their kind of government, which is close to, and you shouldn't, they can't really escape this, a socialist, authoritarian, centralized government. And this is a battle for our soul. And those cases, of course, involve the power, and there are many of those. I think there are 60 cases in court. Many of them involve the actions of Doge, the Musk agency that is finding and locating areas of waste, fraud, and abuse. Most of it laughably obvious, laughable in the way when Biden, used to trip and fall and not remember where he was. We would laugh, and then we'd say, "What the hell are we laughing for? He's the president." When you read that they spent $50 million on condoms for out of Bupaway, you say to yourself, now I say to myself, I hope you understand this. Nobody sent $50 million worth of condoms to Upper Bupaway. That's bribe money. That's the kind of crap that the Washington lawyers and the Washington lobbyists create for themselves, for the members, for their clients. That's how a guy we're going to talk about a lot tonight, Schumer, who probably is disliked by everyone, got where he was. It's all about money. And I am shocked to see that Schumer is a multimillionaire, having never really had a job all his life. He was on the government tit for his entire life. He was an annoying, disliked member of the state legislature. He was an annoying, disliked member of Congress. He was an annoying and disliked senator who only became majority leader, not because any of his colleagues like him, but because he threw a lot of money around. Apparently, a lot of it stuck in his pocket, which makes him something entirely different than I always thought. I always thought he was a pain in the ass and a very unpleasant human being. But so did everybody. Now, his wife worked for me. I will tell you that it's a totally different story. A very fine woman, and one would pray for her, for her patience and endurance. But people used to make fun of him. Democrats used to make fun of him behind his back. Oh my God, Schumer's going to be at that. Oh God, you won't shut up. You just keep repeating the same party line, whatever it is. He also thinks he is quite bright and quite intelligent. He is quite intelligent and quite bright, but nowhere near what he thinks. And of course, he forces it on you all the time. But we're going to be talking about him in a little while. But he indicates the battle that Trump is having. That is really a much bigger revolution and change than appears, because it's in so many different areas. We're talking right now about the courts and about the power of the executive branch, or the reconstitution of our government as a government of 3 branches instead of 4. And then after we talk to Kara, we're going to talk about the universities, because the battle there is of equal importance. Can't say more, but of equal importance. But Kara, are you with us now?
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail.
Well, we're going to take a break, and we'll make sure it's all set up, and we'll find out what's going on down in the swamp today. Sounded like a really good press conference by the president, the parts that I listened to. But we'll be right back.
You're still looking good.
I'm still feeling good. I've got all your MyPillow products. Mattress topper, bed sheets, MyPillows, towels, slippers, blankets.
I'm interrupting this commercial to do something I've never done before. Get 2 MyPillows absolutely free on orders of $100 or more. I can't do this forever, so get on board with this great sale today. Our best-selling 6-piece bath towel sets and kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Our famous standard MyPillow is only $14.98. Queens $18.98. King size only $1 more. Body pillows $29.98. Multi-use MyPillow 2.0s with pillowcase, $9.98. Save $40 on our spring percale Giza Dream bed
there she
sheets.
is. She's
Any
connected.
size,
We have
any
audio.
color.
So
So go
come
to
back on a break.
mypillow.com or call that number on your screen.
Call for it over
Use your
okay?
promo code to save up to 80% on all MyPillow products. And when you spend $100 or more, get 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because we like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's Coffee. This is Rudy Giuliani back with you on the Rudy Giuliani Show on the Lindell TV network and on X. Big controversial X. Oh, that Musk is so controversial. He used to be the biggest hero, almost as big as Trump was, almost as big as I was. I like where I am right now. Much better. Fighting for democracy, fighting for what our founding fathers tried to put it into place, and where I started and where I'm going to end, fighting against crooks, because the Democratic Party is made up of many more crooks than I thought. And when they're not financially crooks, they're intellectually dishonest. I always thought Schumer was that, intellectually dishonest. I'm not saying he's financially a crook. I'm saying somebody should do a very, very careful investigation of how he became worth 30, 40, 50 million on a public salary. I'm sorry, as a prosecutor, that raises every suspicion that I was taught to have. So the other legal battles, of course, involve the ability of the president to deport people from the country. Now he's using the 1797 Act, the Alien Enemy Act. He doesn't really have to do that. And that's going to get the court all bogged down in that act, which gives him the power to do it. It's one of those strange things that was put there, used once or twice and never used, but it's there, and he's got the power to do it. And when you say war on the United States, the question is there some degree of interpretation that he has for that? Does that mean a declared war? Or does it mean what Biden allowed to happen, which is the biggest invasion of the United States by hostile people ever? We've never had that many people come in, even legally, to the United States, much less illegally. The number they give now is 11 million. I can guarantee you it's a bare minimum of 15 and could be 20. I'm not going to bother you with the analysis of it. I've done it often enough, and I'll probably do it again in the future. But they completely leave out a whole category of people they never saw, which every university that studied it in the past, and they stopped studying it because they're all a bunch of Democratic prostitutes, would say that people that you don't see amount to 50 to 200% of the people you do see. So that would get you to bare minimum 14, 15, probably 20 million. Are they disproportionately more criminals and criminal types than ever before? Of course. The minute you open the border without any restrictions, you say to every criminal group in the world, this is your time. This is your time to bring in terrorists. This is your time to bring in drug dealers. This is your time to bring in spies. This is your time to bring in the worst of all, human traffickers. So the percentage of that group of 20 million that are criminals is an unacceptably high percentage. And the group that was sent down to El Salvador is, according to Holman and every other thing you can find, members of the Trans Nicaragua gang, which is a gang really introduced into the United States by Joe Biden. And he should really be sent back with them because he brought them in. But, unfortunately, he's being protected. Lincoln Riley wasn't protected by him. In fact, he couldn't even get her name right. He cared so little about her. But even under circumstances of normal immigration laws, with a crisis like this, he has every justification, the president does, of saying this introduction of people into our system against all laws that existed. 15 million in 3.5 years, only 12 million at Rikers Island. Ellis Island in 60. It's got to be a shock to our system and a national emergency that needs special powers in order to calm it down and put us in a position that we can alleviate the terrible damage being done to us and the attack on our country, on our culture, and everything else. But to interfere in his getting rid of murderers, rapists, thieves, killers, sadists, pedophiles, this is a very, very dangerous group of people that comes out of the prisons of a communist country. And this absolutely fraudulent judge, Brubaba, Judge Brubaba, what's his name? Boboberg. Looks like he could use a good Italian meal, to tell you the truth. But in any event, he really, I'm looking at him and saying, you really are one hell of a jackass, aren't you? What the hell are you doing regulating immigration and foreign policy? We're talking about a country that's an enemy of ours, Venezuela. We're talking about the president exercising not only the immigration powers that he has, but the power to exercise foreign policy, to conduct foreign policy, and the ability to defend us. And you, silly, stupid, Marxist-trained airhead on the worst court in the history of America, the D.C. District Court. That court, you should just be, every single decision of theirs for the next 3 years and all their prior decisions for the last 10 should just be reversed and done over again. Particularly while the bloodthirsty chief judge was there, who all agree was the worst chief judge in the history of that district. She's the one that nobody would come to court and represent because they were afraid of her. They're afraid of what she would do to their career. Of course, they were able to make that choice. The poor J6 people that she tortured didn't have that ability. President is also sanctioning specific lawyers and law firms who, not because they work for his opponent, because they did illegal things working for his opponent. I know the ones that work against me, and they should all be disbarred. They engage in an absolute, complete fraud. Some work for the government. For example, the case in which I am disbarred in the state of New York, which of course doesn't mean anything because it's so damn corrupt, has a gap in the tapes of almost an hour, because it's 12 hours of tape. So that's why it's an hour, but a critical period of time. And the reaction of the Democratic hack from Brooklyn, a retired judge who gets paid to do this, was, let me check my, well, that's okay. They should be disbarred. And that's what he's doing. What he's doing is he's making them pay for what they did for two reasons: justice and deterrence. Because what they did is wrong and unethical, if not illegal. And number two, you don't want it to happen again. The one that probably has the most difficulty is the elimination of the birthright citizenship. So we've spent time on that before. There is more of a justification for that. There is more than enough justification for that than you think, but it's been interpreted that way so long, and the justification is more of an inference than it is absolutely clear. I think Justice Roberts' scolding of the president for, basically giving the impression that you shouldn't seek impeachment when you disagree with a court decision, is very, very unfair. I mean, where the hell was he when they found the relief that Biden gave for those billions of dollars in student loans to be completely unconstitutional? Biden had originally said he knew it was unconstitutional, did it anyway, and then did it again after the court ruled. So they had to do it a second time. Where was his warning to Biden? No, that's not worse. I mean, if you have every right to interpret Judge Booba's opinion as illegal. He is illegally interfering in a way that constitutes a danger to the United States if these people come back. He's exercising power he doesn't have. And the President of the United States can't say that that's a basis, in his view, for looking into an impeachment. Roberts is acting like there's no impeachment power for judges. Well, the reality is there is, and 15 of them have been impeached over the history of our country. 8 of them thrown out. And I imagine some of them far less than the damage this guy is doing to us. But you never see Roberts do this on the other side. When they indicted the candidate for president 4 times in 1 year, the election year, and did every contrivance they could to put it on trial to interfere with his ability to be elected, and institute a gag order so he couldn't campaign. You didn't hear the Chief Justice say this is a terrible, terrible interference in our ability to have a democracy, did you? So why so much reluctance there, and then this interference by him? I don't know. It's an interesting question. I do know enough about John Roberts to know that he is a sound lawyer, a conservative, but lacks, what do we want to call it? Guts? A spine? A spine. And he does worry about, it's either, the worst would be if he worried about, whether he could go to all the cocktail parties, and I don't think that's it. I think he worries about the reputation of the court, and it's the kind of worry that a very, very kind of frightened person has, as opposed to a person who really had confidence in our system of government that would say, well, the best thing for the court is to give the right decision, and people get used to their doing right decisions, correct decisions, based on what I intellectually, truthfully believe to be the case. Because he's written some opinions that are Lulu's, too smart for them. So Kara is on now? Well, that's good. Kara. Well, I think there she is.
Hey, how are you? Could you hear me, I hope?
All right, now I can hear you, and you look terrific.
So do you. Thank you for everything you were saying. I was listening into your, you're talking about Judge Boasberg, and I couldn't agree more. And he does need a nice Italian meal. That was a good, I think, observation. 100%. The guy looks like he's starving. But
Maybe
one of
he's
the questions
mean.
I was asking, he does. It's like he was one of the judges, the J6 judges, obviously, that was really, obviously not caring about the due process of American citizens. And now he's out there crying due process as an activist judge. Yet where was he? Why wasn't he using his tremendous platform that he has with the leftist media to shout out from the rafters that people were being prosecuted for January 6th and thrown in jail for years without trials, being beaten, being tortured, in solitary confinement for multiple years, forced vaccinated, and all of these things. He was completely silent, and furthermore, he even put some of these people in jail in pre-solitary confinement. And there's a person who you might know. I'm not sure if you remember Sarah Carpenter. She was a 9/11 first responder during your time
Yeah,
as
yeah,
mayor.
sure.
She was thrown in jail as well under Judge Boasberg. He sentenced her to multiple years in prison for literally just protesting with the tambourine, peacefully protesting at the Capitol. They raided her house, and he allowed the DOJ to use her rosary beads and her nativity set as evidence in court of her crimes. So this is the judge that's now shouting
What?
due process. It's so hypocritical. It's crazy. It's just crazy.
Well, that's part of that whole theory that devout Catholics are terrorists or a danger. Like if you go to
Right.
Latin Mass, if you like a Latin Mass, you're a cult follower or there's something wrong with you. So if you have rosary beads and a nativity scene, that makes you more likely to be an insurrectionist.
It's crazy. That's what they confiscated when they came to her home in Manhattan. They came with helicopters. They came with battering rams. They pulled her out. They took her nativity set and her rosary beads. It's something I covered extensively. It was very
But
sad because she was, very upset with that, obviously.
did they use it in the trial?
They did. They used this as evidence at trial. It's just bizarre. And that fact that Boasberg would even allow this to happen. That's what I say about a lot of these judges. And apparently there's going to be some hearings next week on this judge.
Well,
Really what they should be talking about is all the laws that they broke in the courtroom. Like these things are not evidence at trial. They should have been blocked. Why is a set of rosary beads allowed to be used at trial as evidence? It's just crazy.
well, I don't know. I just came back from Rome and I got a pair of rosary beads from a bishop that belonged to Saint John Paul the second, and I have them in my pocket right now. Oh no, I don't have them inside there, and I don't know. They may want to put me on the list of
I don't
dangerous
know.
people. But
I
so
know
tell us what happened
Catholics.
today, and also,
Well, today,
Kara, before I forget, can you can you get the if you could you send me information about that trial? Because I want to make sure Congress has that when they look into him.
sure.
So that
There's
that
a lot.
evidence that,
There's a lot of information I could send you as well. This is the
well, I
judge that
know.
actually didn't give jail time to Ray Epps. Ray Epps, who obviously did a lot worse than people that were there. This is the guy that gave him no jail time, yet other people were getting 20 years for doing way less. So this is not a
Ray Epps
fair judge. This is a very
called for
unjust judge.
insurrection. Ray Epps gave a speech the day before and told them to basically raid the Capitol.
Right.
And it looked pretty obvious that he was both egging them on and whispering, and then at times trying to pretend that he was trying to make the peace.
Right. So Judge Boasberg got the memo when it came to Ray Epps and didn't sentence him to any jail time, which is ridiculous because everybody else got decades in prison except for Ray Epps. So like I said, this is not a good guy. He doesn't care about due process, and all this virtue signaling that he's doing right now with the media saying he cares about due process is just absolutely not true. So
So the argument for impeachment is a hell of a lot stronger than even originally thought. I was really upset that Roberts acts like there's no impeachment of judges, and it's right in the Constitution. And he never wanted Biden impeached when Biden, it was found that the loans that he forgave were unconstitutional, and then he did it again.
right.
Well, I mean, Roberts should have said something about that if he's all worried about fidelity to the Constitution. But so
Right.
what
They're
happened today?
not, but Well, there was a lot of things going on. I mean, at the very beginning of the day, well, not the very beginning, midday, the governor of Louisiana was here along with Hyundai, their executives, as well as the representatives of the House from Louisiana, Scalise and Mike Johnson, who are from Louisiana. And, they're building that big steel plant there now with Hyundai, who has committed, I think, $21 billion into the U.S. economy with jobs, with manufacturing steel and making their cars here, which is great news. They have made a lot of their cars here in the past, and it's a win-win situation because now there won't be tariffs because they'll be manufacturing the steel here and injecting into the American economy and building the cars here, and then they're not going to be subject to tariffs. So it was, I think, a win-win day for everybody involved. Trump was happy, the governor was happy, Hyundai was happy, and I think the American people are happy because and especially those in Louisiana, because this is definitely going to be creating a lot of jobs for the people there.
Well, this is really terrific because, it's been a flow in the other direction. And the only way to have a strong economy is to have strong industry and a lot of jobs. And he's
Right.
building he's building the basis for that in a very important way. I'm really glad. He just keeps going along. I mean, it just goes from one to another. Uh, he also said a few words about this Musk situation. It's getting much worse now. I mean, this is really way off the charts what they're doing to him. In a way,
Oh, yeah.
you say it's sort of a follow up to what they did to him, what they did to Bannon, what they did to Navarro, what they did to me, what they did to the J6 people, what they did to a whole group of people that are still indicted. The only place they can go are to the crooked judges.
Right.
And I'm afraid that these people who are doing this to Musk, if they get in front of the DAs that Soros has put, nothing's going to happen to them. Let's hope the new U.S. attorneys are a lot stronger. But if you get in front of a Democrat, something like 90% of the injunctions come from Democrat judges.
Right.
I mean, it's all
Right.
Democrats.
It's a lopsided system, obviously. It's completely lopsided. And I think the American people are picking up on that. And you're right about Elon Musk. He has the biggest target on his back. I think for the next couple of years, that's not going to change because he's doing good things, just like you were. You were calling out things that nobody had the backbone to call out. You were a hero to many people and they had to take you down. And now Elon Musk has kind of stepped up to the plate and he's like the next generation of MAGA to a certain extent. And they have to kill anything that's MAGA, anything that's for the people, any type of populist uprising they want to kill because that's what the deep state does, unfortunately. And he has a target on his back and he will. And I hope that he realizes that. I hope that
Well, I
he
think he
does put
does.
some of his funds after going after these judges for political persecution, because not only are they going to blow up Teslas and attack his businesses and probably come at him through all the agencies that regulate businesses, but they certainly will try to get him for crimes once Trump's out of office. That's a guarantee, because this is a young man that has many years of supporting Republicans, conservatives, and populist Republicans as well that will come after Trump, and they want him out of here. So when Trump can't protect him anymore, he better be thinking about the future is all I have to say, and I hope he's listening to this.
Yeah, I hope he gets a pardon,
Yeah.
a preemptive pardon, but you can't get it for the
Right.
future, unfortunately. But
Right.
if it were Biden would give him a preemptive pardon for the rest of his life or something, and the courts would say, "Oh, that's
Right.
okay." Well, thank you
Exactly.
very much, Gary. Your insights are always terrific.
Well, there was also a cabinet meeting today. We didn't even hit on that. Like I said, Trump has been busy, so there was a cabinet
Second one.
meeting, and I don't know if you have time to hear about that. It was everything really was just about the money that's being saved by the government. Each and every cabinet member has really gotten on the Doge bandwagon in a sense that they're reporting at these cabinet meetings just how much waste they're finding that has been going on for years and years. And I look at it like Stockholm syndrome. I just can't believe that there's a small percentage in the American public that's angry that the government is actually trying to save money. It's like they become enraged that we're trying to budget and that we're trying to like not waste taxpayers' dollars because so many generations of politicians have been doing so. And now every time a clip comes out where there's waste and the waste is being exposed, people become angry. It's almost like Stockholm syndrome. There's no other way to explain it. So there was a lot of talk in the cabinet meeting about that as well. And from Lee Zeldin, I was impressed. If you guys want to check out that clip on on, I think it was on Rapid Response 47, where Lee Zeldin's talking about a lot of the waste he's found, in the EPA as well. So there was that big cabinet meeting this morning, and then at the end of the day, there was a Greek Independence Day. Trump signed a proclamation regarding Greek Independence Day, which was pretty cool to witness. I was a few feet away from that scene that you're looking at right now. That is the Archbishop, apparently, of the church, the Greek church. He was here. He was happy. And there was a lot of very excited people. It was like a party in there. Everybody was standing up cheering. I thought they were going to start dancing at any moment. Everybody was very happy. They were shouting 4 more years, 4 more years, and USA, USA. And these are Greek people. So it was very patriotic. Coming from the Greek Americans that love President Trump.
Well, they tend to be very, very patriotic as a group.
They are.
Yeah. Well, you do a great job, Kara. We'll be checking in with you tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Have a great night.
You too. Great report from Kara Castronova, who does a really terrific job of summing it all up. And there's so much. I mean, I don't know how she even makes a decision of what to cover, what not to. He does so much in one day. And I hope he wasn't here in Florida this weekend, which makes me worry that he didn't play golf this weekend. I'm hoping he played at Bedminster. The weather on Saturday, I'll check with Andrew may know. But he's come, because I think that golf is really important for him. Because the guy's going all the time. Well, we'll be back after this short break, and we'll take a look at Trump versus the Marxist American universities.
You're still looking good.
I'm still feeling good. I've got all your MyPillow products. Mattress topper, bed sheets, MyPillows, towels, slippers, blankets.
I'm interrupting this commercial to do something I've never done before. Get 2 MyPillows absolutely free on orders of $100 or more. I can't do this forever, so get on board with this great sale today. Our best-selling 6-piece bath towel sets or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Our famous standard MyPillows only $14.98. Queens $18.98. King size only $1 more. Body pillows $29.98. Multi-use MyPillow 2.0s with pillowcase $9.98. Save $40 on our Spring Percale and Giza Dream bedsheet sets. Any size, any color. So go to MyPillow.com or call that number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all MyPillow products. And when you spend $100 or more, get 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free.
Tired of volatile stocks and tiny dividend yields? Here's something different. Imagine collecting steady monthly income from America's richest oil fields without owning a single oil stock. While everyone else stresses about the market, you could be earning passive royalty income month after month. This unique investment has nothing to do with drilling, exploration, or operations. You simply collect your share of the profits when oil companies pump oil. The Oxford Club's Mark Lichtenfeld has found what he calls the perfect income investment, a unique oil royalty opportunity that's still flying under Wall Street's radar. And you can get started with just $25. Head to RudyOilBoom.com now to discover more. That's RudyOilBoom.com. Stop worrying about the market and start collecting oil royalty checks instead. Well, welcome back to the Rudy Giuliani Show. I thought over the past year that this election, and of course I'm going to be 3 or 4 items short, was about 4 main things. And that 4 things had to be changed dramatically. And I'm not surprised at how difficult it is and all the opposition he's getting. Honestly, I thought it might actually be worse. But here's what I thought the 4 main things were, and see how he's following through. Because I have it written down from about 8 months ago. The elimination of God, which took place over about a 40 or 50 year period. The change of education from education per se to brainwashing for the purpose of making us Marxists. The censorship, the control of the media, which is much larger than just censorship, the control of the media almost for the same purpose as the control of education, which really surrounds you with a large number of brainwashed people because their educational system is brainwashed, and then their method of obtaining information is brainwashed with a certain message. So you end up with things like the people of Chicago for 60 straight years voting just solidly Democrat, even though every weekend is a killing field on the Democrats, or the people in New York doing the same thing. 170 years of crooked Democrat regimes, both in Albany and in New York, and we go on and on and on with Philadelphia and places like that. But then I thought the fourth one, and this is not an order of importance necessarily. I think God is number one. The others you could mix up. The final one is a two-tier system of justice, which almost sounds too euphemistic. The destruction of the justice system, where the Democrat Party, the Obama, Biden, Clinton party, took the courts and used them the way the courts were used in a dictatorship, the way the courts were used in Nazi Germany or Soviet Russia or present-day China or Venezuela. Used it as an instrument of revenge against well, right now it's an instrument. Well, no, actually, it's broader than that, isn't it? If you consider what Obama did. I was going to say an instrument of revenge against their direct political opponents. The Nazis and the communists use it against those who ideologically disagreed with them. But so do the Democrats. Isn't that correct? I mean, you think of all the things they use the IRS for in going after conservatives, or you look at the debanking that goes on of conservatives. And so this country is much further along, or was much further along, to being an autocratic government without substantial rights for people who don't agree with the government propaganda, which makes us the Marxist government that Marx planned for us back in 1850. And if you read it and you can see the sequence of events, every single one of those things are the top 4 points of Marxism or Engels or the people who came after them in the 20th and the 21st century. So he has to roll all that back in 2 months. This has been going on. I mean, it's been conceived of since about 1850, and it's been going on here. The first really major inroads within the Wilson administration, and then the change of public education, and then the big effort against God, get God out of schools, and then get God out of the public square. And then the Communist Teachers Union infiltrating the schools and taking over the schools, the way the Communist Party agents run the agencies, run the military in a communist country. Well, it's the teachers' agents that run the schools, and they make sure no God, no parents. We run it for ourselves and for the benefit of the employees. And the children don't matter because we don't even evaluate them anymore. You know, some large number of states no longer have an exam for graduating high school. Graduating high school means nothing in New York, for example. And by the time you get up to that level, everybody is below 50% grade level for reading, writing, arithmetic, math, science. Science, they're horrible. And this is all going in the opposite direction of the huge amount of money that we spent. Because the money doesn't go to the children. The money goes to the teachers union, to the bureaucrats. The major objective of the Communist Teachers Union is to be a slush fund for itself and its members. Trump is taking that on. He's delivering massive blows to the colleges. Look what he's done to Columbia. He's gotten them to agree to his demands. I think what is coming out, very much revealed by by Matt Taibbi and by Miranda Devine, the universities are about 30 to 50% federal money. If the federal government pulled the money out, a lot of them would crash. Or they would not be the magnificent, unbelievable, wealthy institutions that they are. Johns Hopkins, half of its research is paid for by the federal government. And then there are also any number of additional perks that are built into federal grants that are different than other grants. For example, if the grant comes from Gates, there's 10% of the grant overage for indirect costs. You know what it is from the federal government? 50%. What do you think that is? It's called kickback money. Doctors don't take kickbacks. You never knew that. You never knew until we dug out the fact that Fauci was taking millions in royalties, right? We still don't know the millions in royalties he took during the year and a half or two that he sold out America to Red China, right? So these colleges have nothing to do with educating kids. When they get more money, they charge more money so they can make more money. It's all about money. Unfortunately, the Democrats are all about money. Taibbi's article on Johns Hopkins is very, very useful. That guy does great work. Unafraid. Well, switch over now to X. We'll continue on America's Mayor Live. We're praying for all the people that are at war or people who are in subjugation, particularly people of Iran. And we're going to say until we see you tomorrow. And remember, go over to X for America's Mayor Live, where we will continue on this subject of how we turn around this corruption and the massive effort that's going on that's historic in front of your eyes. God bless America.